If you don't have a big fat list of leads that you can tap into at any one time, it's going to be seriously hard to predictably scale your business. Yet lead generation is the biggest bottleneck for the majority of businesses out there. But not on my watch. I have literally generated hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of leads, if not millions at this point, over the past 7 years. And today I'm going to be giving you a complete A to Z guide on lead generation and how you can apply 10 different strategies within your business today to generate a big, fat, hungry list of leads. So let's get straight into it. Now, the content I'm going to be going through today is actually an exclusive lesson inside of a brand new training program we just released called Agency Launch, where we teach agency owners who are service-based business owners to scale to over $10,000 a month. And I'm literally giving you an entire lesson from that program for free today. So let's dive straight into this. And the first thing we have to do is we have to get an understanding of what leads actually are. Now, leads are the lifeblood of your agency. Now, if you're in any business that requires lead generation, you can apply this knowledge. So I am going to be talking specifically to agency owners right now, but if you're in any business that requires lead generation, you can apply these strategies that I'm going to teach you today to your company, trust me. Leads represent potential clients who are yet to show interest in your services, okay? By effectively generating and outreaching to leads, you will drive revenue and expand your client base. Now, to generate high quality leads, it's essential to have a clear understanding of your ideal customer profile, your ICP. Okay, so we want to get an understanding of who our ideal customer is, first of all. Who are we actually trying to target? What is their demographic? Where are they based? What is their industry? What is their job title? Presuming you're in a B2B business, who exactly are we trying to target? We have to hone in on our ICP first of all, okay? Now, by knowing who your ideal clients are, you can tailor your lead generation efforts to attract individuals who are most likely to convert into paying clients. It also pays to have a solid understanding of your total addressable market, which is your TAM, and your serviceable addressable market, which is your SAM, so you know your limits ahead of time. Now, total addressable market is the total amount of potential clients in your said niche, okay? So how many people internationally could we potentially reach out to, or if you're not going international, within your certain area? Then we have serviceable market, so SAM, these are the people that are actually qualified for the product or service that we are trying to sell. So you might have 100,000 dentists in the world that you can reach out to, but you might only want to work with 50,000 of them because only those dentists are over 10,000 a month in monthly revenue, so they can afford your service, for example. So we want to get an understanding of our TAM and also our SAM, because this lets us know where our limits are. So we know if we've got a lead list of 100,000, we are there. We've got the maximum amount of dentists. If we don't understand those figures, we're coming into this blind and we don't know, where that lies. So let's get going. First of all, we must get an understanding of what a lead is, okay? So we need to understand the difference between a lead and a prospect. A prospect can be defined as the following: an individual or business that has shown initial interest in a company's products or services, typically by providing their contact information or engaging with the company in some way, for a website, event, or marketing campaign. So a prospect is someone who is actively interested in your service. They've already responded to maybe your cold outreach or your ads, and so they are warmer down the buyer's journey. Unlike a lead, which may simply be an individual business that has expressed some level of curiosity or engagement, but not always. Okay, the majority of leads won't have expressed any kind of interest in your business so far. It will be a cold list of potential customers. A prospect has usually been further qualified, meaning they've demonstrated specific traits or behaviors that suggest they may be ready for a sales conversation. Now, let's look at what a lead is. A lead is a potential client who has been identified as someone likely to benefit from or show interest in a company's products or services. So unlike a prospect, a lead has not yet been fully qualified, meaning it is uncertain whether they have a necessary budget, authority, or immediate need to purchase. Sales leads represent the first step in the sales process, and further effort is required to nurture and qualify them into potential buyers or prospects. Now, by establishing specific and clear lead criteria, you can focus your efforts on high quality leads that are more likely to convert. So let's go into lead criteria. Lead criteria are the specific characteristics or qualifications that a potential client must meet to be considered a qualified lead for your business. This criteria can vary widely depending on your industry, your target market, and your sales strategy. So what are some of the common mistakes when it comes to setting lead criteria? And by the way, it is so important that you study this and you don't skip through to when I show you the actual strategies that you use. The biggest problem most businesses have in lead generation is not actually finding leads, it's actually finding the right leads for their business. And the reason they can't do that is because they don't have a deep understanding of what a good lead actually is. So pay attention to this stuff, close your tabs, write this stuff down, truly study this. It's the full guide today. We're going to be going through the theory, we are going to be going through the action, but in order to build a great lead list, we have to have a deep understanding of what a great lead is. So what are the common mistakes when setting lead criteria? Well, first of all, avoid setting overly broad criteria that capture too many irrelevant leads. So for example, leads must be male under the age of 75. That's a pretty broad lead list. We want to be as specific as possible. Don't set criteria that are too restrictive and exclude potential clients on the flip side. For example, leads must be based in Oxford, London, have a household income of over 1 million per year, own a luxury vehicle, and have a university degree in engineering or in business. Okay, that's very unrealistic. That TAM is going to be incredibly small. And also don't lack specificity? Jesus, it's been a long day. When setting the characteristics you're looking for in ideal leads, okay? So you want to be specific, but not too specific. It's a balancing act. When setting a lead criteria, you should ensure your lead criteria aligns with your ICP to attract the right audience. So go and look at and write down your ICP first before you proceed. Determine the most important factors for qualifying leads, such as industry, company size, job title, or budget. Assign points to leads based on how well they meet your criteria to prioritize follow-up efforts. This is actually so slept on because it's time consuming. When you generate leads, if you have some kind of a lead scoring system, so you know who the highest quality leads actually are, you can prioritize those leads in your outreach efforts or in whatever means you have to actually convert those leads in the future. Okay, we can prioritize the best leads on the system if we have some kind of scoring system. Now, once you've defined your lead criteria, you can create organized lead lists to manage your prospects efficiently. You can use the lead list template that we've set up. I'm going to show you a lead list template and you can replicate this for yourself. We'll go through that in a moment. In fact, I'll show you that now. We'll just go down on this. I'll show you what this actually looks like. So this is a template for a lead list, and this is a typical kind of B2B lead list. So you've got company name, you've got a website, their industry, the decision maker's first name, last name, job title, their email address, their phone number, and then we have socials. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Even if you don't plan on reaching out to them on these platforms, okay, still try and store that information if you can find it in case you want to come back to it in the future. If you're trying to generate a LinkedIn list and an email list and a phone list, it's one of the big mistakes people make. It's going to be really messy. You want to have all the information on one page. Location, when you last contacted them, and then any notes. And of course, as a bonus, we could add that lead score there as well. Okay, so that is a lead list template, and you can just host that on Google Sheets or Excel, whatever you use the most. Cool. Let's go through manual lead generation then. So manual lead generation is the act of quite literally manually trying to find lists or potential customers for our business. It is incredibly time consuming, but it is essential for new start business owners who don't necessarily want to spend the time or the money rather on softwares and outsourcing and so on. Although I will go through softwares, I will also go through outsourcing as well, okay, or touch on. So manual lead generation is when you actively seek out and capture potential leads. It's a hands-on approach to identify and acquire potential clients. It involves activities that require direct human interaction or effort rather than relying on automated tools or software. It requires effort, persistence, and time. It will take time, but manual leads are, broadly speaking, higher quality than any leads you generate through a software because it's up-to-date information, you've actively validated it. When I work with agency owners, I always recommend that in the early stages they manually generate leads. So they've got a good understanding of the leads that they're actually generating, and they have a good understanding of the process it takes to generate leads, because software simply automates that manual process, but then they store it all on a database, which means the leads can get very outdated. So if you've ever heard of a tool like D7 Lead Finder, which is a lead list I do not recommend to you guys, they famously store just vast amounts of lead data, but it's so outdated. And so if you do manual lead generation, you're going to get a higher quality batch of leads, which means your time to reward or time to client signed ratio is going to be a lot healthier. So you should do manual lead generation when you're a new agency or you have limited budget for automated tools or outsourcing. As soon as possible, you want to outsource lead generation though and switch to more advanced methods, since manual lead generation is time consuming and can be slow. I can't over exaggerate this enough, okay, or I can't stipulate this enough. Lead generation is time consuming. When you do have the financial means to outsource lead generation to a high quality software or an outsourcer, you should do, because if you are, let's say, an agency owner or a service provider, your time is better spent in other areas of the business, like actually jumping on sales calls or actually delivering your service. And so it is, broadly speaking, the first thing we want to outsource in a service-based business. So what are the pros and cons of manual? Well, the pros are it gives us direct control, it lets us handpick potential leads, and it's tailorable, often yielding a higher quality lead that will be more likely to convert. You will notice the higher conversion rate on those leads. Now, the negatives are it is time consuming, it is hard to find the right balance between time invested and potential ROI, and it's not something you'll want to do yourself. I am going to give you a bit of a hybrid strategy that we can use when it comes to manual. Doesn't have to all be completely manual. Now, there are many ways to manually generate leads. You can do this through Google Maps, so you can search for businesses in your target industry and location. You can use LinkedIn, so you can connect with professionals in your network and industry. We can use other social medias, so Facebook, Instagram, and X or Twitter. Industry directories, these are a really great place. Industry directories are slept on. You can find businesses listed in industry-specific directories. To find them, you go over to Google and you can find a bunch. I'll give you a framework for that shortly. And then, of course, job boards, so you can identify potential clients who are hiring for the services that you actually offer. So go over to job websites. And then finally, we have networking events. So you can attend industry events to meet potential clients in person. Now, of course, this is a bit of a curveball. It's not digital, but networking events are an incredibly high ROI activity. You will very rarely attend a very strong industry event and not be able to sign up at least one client. It's a fundamental part of our marketing strategy in our agency. We always attend events at least twice a quarter. Now, we can have a look at the manual lead generation instruction guide at the end of this lesson. I'm actually going to run you through that in a moment, but let's just finish off this last bit of text. So we're going to evaluate the relevance of lead avenues, and so we want to make sure we're evaluating each avenue that we're actually using in our business based on the ICP and the lead criteria. So I always recommend, if you've got your ICP figured out, test out all of these different avenues, okay? But then you want to establish which of these are actually worth your time. You don't want to always be flicking between them. You are going to notice very quickly where you are finding the majority of high quality leads. So we want to consider factors like, where does your ideal client spend time online? Specific directories or events related to your industry, how easy it is to reach potential leads through each avenue. And by effectively utilizing manual lead generation, you can identify and connect with potential clients who are a good fit for your agency. So the next thing we're going to do is go through automatic lead gen. But before we do, I'm going to start running you through some manual lead generation techniques. So this is a manual lead gen guide. Now, it is important to note that what I do in these actual lessons themselves, when we're going through this training content behind the scenes in our programs, we record a video, or I record a video where I go through all of these in intimate detail so you can see exactly how these strategies work and can be applied in real time. I'm going to be running you through a bunch of screenshots right now so you can get a good understanding of how to use all of these strategies for yourself, which will be perfectly adequate for this video today. So, Google Maps is the first thing that we're going to look at. Google Maps is an incredible source for finding local leads, okay? So you can find many leads in very limited time just by searching simple keywords like, for example, here we have solar energy in Norwich. I want to make sure that you can actually see this. Hopefully, if you put your screen on full screen, this should all be nice and clear for you. I will just zoom in a little bit more just in case it's not super clear. So solar energy in Norwich, we see it brings up all of the leads in the local area. Now we have a nice list. So if we're going through manual lead gen, okay, and we are going to go through automated techniques, but this is for those of you that haven't got financial resources to do that yet. We will cover that. You would then go through and you would take the details. So you've got the company name, you've got the website link, you've got the location, the phone number, and so on. And we would just simply copy and paste that information into our lead list, okay? And that is literally all we would have to do. Just work through this list, scroll through Google Maps. It's incredibly simple. It doesn't really get much more simple than that. Next thing we have LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is an incredibly powerful professional social media platform. I used to work as a business development director in a advertising company where I used to sell advertisement packages for online publications. And LinkedIn was the #1 lead generation strategy that we used in that company. In fact, they wouldn't even let us use other lead generation strategies. And so I've got a pretty good LinkedIn profile. You can go and check it out for yourself. Got a ton of endorsements, hundreds and hundreds on there. I've managed to book meetings and generate leads from the likes of the creative director at Universal Studios, who's left me a testimonial on LinkedIn. He flew me out to Dubai when they built Universal Studios out there. I built a relationship with him purely off lead generation on LinkedIn. I've generated hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds for the companies I used to work with from LinkedIn alone. It's a very powerful way for you to generate leads. And actually, LinkedIn serves as the foundation for many different automation softwares. I'm going to highlight some of them shortly. I'll highlight which ones depend on LinkedIn to actually find information. Okay, it really is the backbone for a lot of automated lead generation tools. If you are going to use LinkedIn, I would recommend using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I do have a full video on this YouTube channel where I go through LinkedIn Sales Navigator and actually teach you how to outreach to leads using Navigator. So we'll put a link in the description. I'll probably reference a few videos throughout, and so we'll put a link in the description to that. You can go and check this out in your own time. But with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can search for leads based on criteria like job title, industry, and location. And it's a much more in-depth search criteria than free LinkedIn. You can save leads and accounts to keep track of your progress. So you can build a lead list in LinkedIn directly. You can view insights and updates on your saved leads and accounts. So if they've gone into new jobs, if they've posted content, you can have some valuable insights that will aid your sales process when you actually reach out to them. And most importantly on LinkedIn, you can send personalized messages and emails to your leads and accounts. The way LinkedIn works is if you're not connected to someone, you can't send them a direct message. And so an email is a way to bypass that, and you can send the messages even if you're not connected. So here's how you can use Sales Navigator. If you don't already have an account, obviously create one, and you'll need to upgrade to an advanced plan. Okay, you can just go ahead and just get the core plan. It'll be absolutely fine. So an advanced plan in general, you don't need the advanced plan. Okay, and you're going to use the advanced search function at the top of your page. Okay, and you're going to search for leads that match your ICP. So you can see in this instance on this criteria, we've got, let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. Okay, yes. So we've got UK, we've got solar, electric, power generation, and we've got job titles, managing director, owner, founder, co-founder, director. We can do things like company headcount if we want to just make sure these are a business of a certain size. In fact, if you're trying to qualify leads based on their revenue, then company headcount is usually quite a good indicator. It's quite hard to find company financials for small businesses, but if they've got, let's say, 4 or 5 team members, you can be pretty sure they're making over 10, 20k a month because they wouldn't be able to pay all those people full time. Okay, so we can judge based on the company headcount. You're then going to save the leads that match your criteria to Sales Navigator. Okay, so you can just hit the Save to List button at the top, and you can then tick the All Select button, which is going to select all of the leads that are on your page right now. Okay, and then you can manually transfer the information from your new save list to your lead list, or use an automation tool to convert it into a CSV. I'm going to show you how to do that, but the tool you would use would be Phantom Buster. There are many tools that you can use, but Phantom Buster is a really great tool where you can download your LinkedIn lead list and export it to a CSV, and then you can just simply transfer that over to your Google Sheet for ease. Okay, let's look at social media platforms. So we're going to go through Facebook, Instagram, X, and other social media. Facebook, for me, was one of the most effective lead generation platforms alongside Google Maps. When I first started my marketing agency, I scaled that agency to 10k a month in revenue in just 3 months, and it depended on me cold calling businesses every single day. So I had to ensure that I had enough leads every single day to continue cold calling. From Google Maps and Facebook alone, I manually lead generated my whole way to 10k a month in the business. Okay, so Facebook is a very powerful source for you to actually find some leads, and it is the world's most popular social media site. I mean, to be fair, if this survey was new, it would probably be Instagram, but Facebook is still considered the most popular social media site. Facebook owned Instagram, same thing, you know. So we're going to start off by identifying groups. Groups are a great way for you to find. So if we were still going with solar energy, we would just search solar energy UK if it's UK is our ICP, and then we will find all these groups. So we've got 22,000 members here, we've got 3,000 members here, 10,000 members here. These are so many leads in this niche. Now, it's not always just going to be business owners. There are going to be consumers in there as well. So we are going to have to filter through it. But you're going to join through these groups, and then you're going to look through the members list and identify potential leads who match your ICP. You can also then easily find companies that match your ICP by searching for pages. So we don't just have to go on groups and look through the members, but we can also go and hit companies, and then we will find direct leads as well. You don't just have to search your country, you can also just search your city in the same way that you would on Google Maps, and you will still find people as well. So then you're going to, of course, take note of the companies that match your criteria, and you're going to add their contact information to your lead list. So a little side note and a hack for you. If you are joining Facebook groups, start engaging in those groups. Don't be like a little snake that's there just like really obviously just trying to like poach. You want to, well, I suppose, we're not trying to be garish. We are trying to act a little bit like a little snake. An authentic, a genuine snake. You want to ensure that you are not obviously trying to poach clients in the group. In order for you to build authentic authority inside of a group, you want to be responding to people's posts genuinely, just trying to provide help and give information to other people. When you find yourself in a position that people are engaging with your post and you're providing value authentically, people will start coming to you. And that's how we start generating inbound leads, which is a completely different story. Maybe we can record another video in the future. But inbound leads are the holy ground. And you will only be able to build a reputation in these groups if you act very subtly, you move relatively slowly, and people can't smell out that you're trying to generate leads, because they will smell that out and they'll reject you straight away. So you've got to be very careful. That's the biggest mistake people make. They come in and they're like trying to post a lead magnet. Like, who wants to download this ebook I've got on the best marketing strategy for solar energy? Everyone's like, You have to be authentic with that. Cool. Next thing that we have is Instagram. So Instagram is a great platform as well, huge for lead generation. What I love about Instagram is, the first thing we can do, the pretty basic form, is we can go on a ideal lead. So we can find an ideal lead in our ICP, and we can go on their followers, and we can see who else. So you can see from this one, Good Energy, there's a couple of other energy companies straight away. There's also one at the bottom there. So there's 3 out of 5 of those followers there on screen are potential customers, and so that's great. But what I really like about Instagram, away from the followers, is the suggested. When you go ahead and you follow a page, if you follow someone from your ICP, you will then get a bunch of other suggested pages, and these will usually be perfect criteria ICP as well. So go through and have a field day on following a whole bunch of potential leads and then looking at that suggested, and you'll be able to filter through that as well and pull data off. Again, you can use something like Phantom Buster to scrape these leads in the future, so you can go ahead and you can actually automate this process. In fact, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We'll wait until we get onto that shortly. Okay, next thing you can do is look at relevant hashtags to find leads. So you can always check the most recent tab. So when you do search a hashtag at the top of Instagram, it's going to be top posts, but you want to click most recent, and that's going to bring up the majority of normal businesses. The top post is like trending content and so on, which are normally going to be conglomerates, which won't always be your target ICP. Now, you want to remember to engage with posts and comments on these pages to build relationships with other users. And again, you want to write genuine comments that show enthusiasm, curiosity, and interest, and avoid jargon like check your DMs and so on. Okay, people will smell that and they won't like it. Cool. X, or Twitter. You're going to use a search function on each platform to find users who match your ICP. So the basic search like we have been doing on Facebook and Instagram. We can then go on their followers and make sure we identify people there. What is quite nice about X is when we look at the follower list, we can see the bios. So it's very easy for us to identify who is actually a good lead and who isn't a good lead for us. Okay, next thing, there is also a suggested. So when we follow someone on X, we do get that suggested. So you can see that there, we do get that suggested there coming up on the side too. So it makes life a lot easier. Final thing, again, hashtags. If we put in the hashtags relevant to our industry, we will find potential leads that way as well. So X is pretty much identical to Instagram in the way that we can use it. We don't have groups, but we do have suggested, and we do have followers and so on. Other social media platforms like Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, and Reddit can also be useful for generating leads depending on your industry and ICP. And when considering whether to use a particular social media platform for lead generation, think about your ICP and where leads are likely spending their time online. Research each platform and investigate their user demographics, which can take time, okay? But actually, like, lots of these platforms do have blurred lines, so it's going to be very niche specific. It's not going to be based on the age, their gender. It's going to be based on industry specific. So, like, for example, you won't find many home improvement businesses on LinkedIn, okay? Equally, you probably won't find as many software businesses on Instagram, for example. So from there, you can determine which platforms are worth investing your time. Remember, social media platforms evolve quickly, and it's important to stay up to date on new features and trends that may impact your lead generation strategy. Next, we're going to go through job boards. Told you guys, we're getting through a lot today. I'm giving you the source. I'm just tired of seeing people struggle with lead gen. It is such a shame if lead generation is the biggest bottleneck in your business. Every business should have that big, fat, chunky list of total TAM. Okay, who is my TAM? Who is my SAM? I want that big fat list of leads. Never let lead generation be a bottleneck again. You just wait till we get through this automation stuff. Okay, so job boards. On job boards, you'll be able to identify potential clients who are hiring for the services that you offer. Job sites are a valuable resource for finding leads, especially when targeting companies hiring for marketing roles. So here's how you can leverage job boards to generate leads manually. You're going to start off by identifying the job titles that are relevant to your agency's services, such as marketing manager or digital marketing specialist. This is tailored towards an agency, of course. So you are going to be looking for those job roles first of all. If a business is advertising for a marketing manager or a digital marketing specialist, the likelihood is they need someone to fulfill a digital marketing service. So you can go in, you can reach out to them and say, hey, look, instead of paying all these employee taxes, instead of having this whole headache of onboarding someone, waiting for time, waiting for notice periods and so on, and then you find out the person isn't even good, why don't you work with an agency and pay us directly? And we can do this, we've been doing it for X amount of years and we've got these results and blah, blah, blah. So you're going to go on, let's say something like Indeed, to simply search marketing manager, and then you'll find a number of different roles and you can reach out to those companies, or you can just write down the company name, just put them on your lead list. And in the notes section, put a little note to say where you got the lead, so you've got the context, actively looking for marketing manager, for example. So you're going to look for job postings that are recent and indicate the company is looking to fill the position. You're going to take note of the company name. You're going to use the information to reach out to them. Sweet. It's as simple as that. Now, there are so many different job companies. You're going to want to make sure that you reach out to one or use one which is local in your area. If you go over to Google or even ChatGPT and you search job websites or most popular job websites in your country, okay, then you're going to have a big list. That's going to act as kind of your basis for those job listings. Nice. Finally, with manual lead gen, we're going to go through industry directories. Again, this is, as I say, what I would think the most powerful way of generating good leads in your industry. This is something that I overlooked in the early stages of my agency, but something that I really teach people to focus a lot of time in. So you can find businesses listed on industry-specific directories, and they're going to be your ability to find the right people in the right place. And often you'll find that there's a lot of information, contact information, that you can pick up on off the back of these directories. So start by searching for directories that are relevant for your industry or niche. Just go over to Google, or ChatGPT is also a great place to do this, or any other AI model, whatever your favorite is. Once you've found a relevant directory, so here we have Solar Energy UK, you're going to start by narrowing down your findings by searching for businesses or individuals that match your ICP. So some of these will have filtration systems and you can really pick through them. Others will just be a big database. Go ahead and take note of their contact information, such as phone numbers and so on and so forth. And then, I'm going to give you right now in a moment, a way that you can actually scrape this automatically, so you don't even have to do this manually. Other industry directories would be like What Clinic for like clinic-based businesses, Check a Trade for like home improvement-based businesses. So there are so many out there. Do your research, find them for your industry. You'll be shocked at what you can find. Sometimes you'll just find an absolute gold mine of like a small website that's like 3 pages back on Google, and it's just like a gold mine for perfect ICP. Awesome. So that is manual lead generation. Let's go back to the actual lesson itself and let's move on to automated lead generation. So by using specialist tools, you can extract information such as names, contact details, and company information from online directories, social media profiles, and other sources. So we're going to discuss some of the methods for automated lead generation. Now, I will stipulate this is going to cost you for the majority of the products that I'm going to be going through right now, albeit it's a small price to pay to generate a huge amount of mass leads, okay? And I'm going to put a link in the description for all of these tools that I'm going to talk through today, should you want to go around and play with them. With the majority of these tools, I've got relationships with the softwares. I will get a very small affiliate commission. I don't care if you use my link or not. The truth is, I've used these tools for a number of years. That's why I have a great relationship with them. And I've made sure that for the majority, they're going to give you a free trial, or at least free credits to use the tool, so you can just figure out whether you like it before you even sign up. But as I say, I don't care if you use my link. I don't need your money. What I want you to do is use the best tools that I know actually work, and I've tested out tens, if not probably close to hundreds over the past 7 years of different tools when it comes to sales, lead generation, CRMs, and so on. And these are the ones that truly are producing the best leads right now. And if there is anything that's better in the future, we'll get this updated on this lesson. Okay, so anyone who's in our community or in our products, these lessons are continually updated every single month. We make sure that it's up to date with the latest information based on what is actually working right now. They're completely evergreen. It's not like every year we update it. Every single month, if something is changing, we update this content. So we're always teaching the latest in lead generation, in sales meetings, in client onboarding, in outreach, whatever it is. We're always teaching the latest and updating continually. It's just an ever-growing ecosystem, and it just evolves. So, lead scraping is the process. First of all, this is what we're going to be going through. Lead scraping, not lead lists. So, lead scraping is the process of automatically collecting data from websites to identify potential leads. This process automatically extracts contact information, such as names, emails, addresses. You get the idea. What are the benefits of lead scraping? So first of all, it's very efficient. You're going to automate the process of gathering leads, saving time and effort. So with that directory, we can just scrape it all straight from the website. It's very scalable because we can collect a large number of leads in a short period of time. And it's very good for data enrichment. You're going to enhance your existing lead database with additional information that you couldn't find on face value just by looking at the lead's website, for example, or their social media. Now, when lead scraping, there are ethical considerations you need to keep in mind. Okay, I do have to say this. Privacy, you want to ensure that you're using sources that comply with data protection laws, and quality. Now, first of all, anything that we're going through today does comply with data protection laws. Quality, though, you want to validate the accuracy and relevancy of the scraped data as well. Okay, so you want to make sure that the data you're actually using is up to date. You're going to get a good feel for it when you actually start using the leads. So what are some tools for lead scraping? So there are various different tools ranging from free to premium options, okay? Normally free is kind of somewhat limited. Softwares are pretty cheeky. They get you on a little plan that gives you some functionality that makes you pay an upsell, but they're businesses. Of course, they're going to make you pay, and so you should. So some popular choices are Data Miner, and I'm going to run through all of these and show you how to use them. And it allows the scraping of data from websites and online directories without any coding knowledge. So that directory I was just showing you, you can scrape that whole website with Data Miner. It's amazing. We've got Snov.io. This relies on LinkedIn. Like I said to you, some of these platforms rely on LinkedIn. It scrapes email addresses and other contact information for potential leads. Hunter is an email address finding tool. So it'll guess a whole bunch of different email addresses to find the one for a person. It'll then send like a test email or like a ping to that email address to actually find out whether or not it's legitimate. So for a guessing system, it'll find email addresses, which is pretty cool. Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster is a little bit black hat, which is like a little bit of an underground strategy. It's very cool. There are a whole bunch of different tools on Phantom Buster that allow you to scrape a variety of social media platforms and Google Maps. And then finally, Clay. This is my favorite. Clay is such an incredible software that I've actually invested in Clay, and I only invested in it after I'd used it for a long period of time. Clay is without a doubt my favorite lead generation tool that exists, bar none. And if you want a really in-depth video where I go through Clay and break it all down, then I'll put a link in the description. You can go and watch that after this. It's absolutely fantastic. It marries so many other softwares together in one, and it searches the internet for all the information that you could need. It's fantastic. I can't stress that enough. It streamlines lead generation and it personalizes outreach efforts as well. So you can actually use it to create personalized messages that you're going to send out based on the information that it scrapes. So we're going to look through the instruction guide, but first of all, we're just going to finish this part of the lesson. There are some nuances between lead scraping tools, but here are some fundamental steps you have to go through when it comes to lead generation tools. So we're going to identify your target websites first of all. Usually we have to have a source website. Not with all tools, but some, or most, we have a source website first of all. We're then going to create a scraping project on the tool. We're going to define the extraction rules for the data. Okay, so what do we actually want to find? Names, emails, company information, phone numbers, sometimes even mobile numbers. Clay is exceptionally good at finding mobile numbers. You're going to run the scraper to actually find the data, and then you're going to clean and organize your list to a usable format. Cleaning cannot be slept on. If you generate a big list of leads and you don't verify the leads and you don't clean them, I will teach you how to do that. Big issue. Your emails are going to be bouncing like no tomorrow. You're probably going to get blacklisted, and this is why people have big deliverability issues, and they don't realize that they have big deliverability issues. It's because they haven't verified the leads that they've actually generated. Now, scraping can take time, especially for large data sets, so be patient, but it is going to be quicker than manual. We're going to experiment with different extraction rules to optimize results and avoid scraping websites that prohibit data extraction. So some websites will just keep all the information on site. None of these that I'm going to show you, but some will. You want to be able to export this data and take it off platforms so you can use it wherever you want. Now, by effectively utilizing lead scraping, you can expand your lead database and identify potential clients who may be interested in your services. So we are going to move on to lead databases. But before we do, just check, before we do lead databases, I'm going to go through the worksheet and run you through how to actually use some of these lead scraping tools that we've gone through. So we'll start off with Data Miner. This is incredible. This is just a Google Chrome extension, okay? And so you can see it here in use. If we go on Google Maps, for example, we click Data Miner, there are a number of different what are called recipes where people have created little scripts that allow you to scrape data based on the website that you're on. So here we've got aesthetics in London. We've got a couple of different, we've got a basic scrape, we've got an advanced scrape, and this will just scrape more information. We press one of these and it'll create a CSV of all of the pages on the screen. So we don't need to manually write down all those leads. We can just automatically scrape them using Data Miner. Very, very cool. If you go on a directory as well, you can then go and scroll to the bottom and you can click Data Miner and then you can scrape directories. You can create your own recipes as well, so you don't have to, and you can see what this actually looks like here. Exporting all this list of leads. You can also create your own recipes. Lots of directories will already have recipes that people have created. It's actually relatively easy to create your own recipe. Data Miner have a whole bunch of different YouTube videos that you can follow to create your own recipes. So if it is a directory that nobody's scraped before, and that's a home run, that's pretty good, then you can go ahead and you can create your own recipe to do that. And it will simply mean that you're going to essentially just be marrying up fields. You simply say, okay, I want to select a name field now, and then you just click on screen, watch what the name field actually is, and then it'll go and find that information. It will know to take that information. So after you've done it, you're going to wait for Data Miner to scrape the data. It can take some time with this tool, but when I say some time, I mean a matter of minutes, not hours. And once the data is scraped, it's going to display all of that in a table format, and then you can export that into CSV or Excel, and you can copy it to clipboard as well. Just do a CSV and then you can import that into your Google Sheet lead list. Okay, there is a tutorial page from the Data Miner website. If you go, so you can see that link there, dataminer.io/help/recipe creator, and it'll teach you how to use this tool. This is a very, very low friction, first step up from manual lead generation. Thoroughly recommend it to all of you guys. Next, we have Snov. As I said, Snov scrapes email address and contact information for potential leads. This does have LinkedIn as kind of the main backing for Snov. Might not do now, but it certainly was within the last 6 months when I last checked and did my research on this. They do update, of course, so don't hold me accountable to that. But as far as I'm concerned, Snov used LinkedIn as the source. So what you're going to do is create an account. You're going to navigate to bulk domain search is probably the best function here. And then under find leads, okay, you're going to upload a CSV of any company names or website domains that you've generated. So Snov is one that will scrape the internet to find the contact information for leads that you have already got websites for. So you have a big list of potential clients, and you want to find the decision maker, who's the marketing manager, who's the managing director, etc. And it's going to get that information. Now, once uploaded, you'll be able to ask for a search option. Okay, so you're going to start by selecting for a search for prospects. Okay, Snov calls leads prospects. Prospects are people that are interested. So Snov is actually wrong. Leads are just people that are, maybe interested, but mostly not interested. They're cold. Prospects are warm. You will also want to collect only 1 to 2 prospects per domain. You don't want to have like 5 different decision makers per domain. It's going to get very messy. You're going to use a lot of credits. And then you can also add a filter by position to match your ICP, so you know you're actually getting a list of the right people. This said, it is wise to keep filter by position blank, as Snov will find the highest ranking prospects within this filter anyway. Now, you risk finding out on good leads if you are too strict with filters. So as with all lead generation, there's a balancing act between making sure it's nice and strict so it's core ICP, but also not being too strict so you're getting very, very few leads coming out. Now, you'll be able to filter through these prospects manually in the next step when you hit Start Search, and then you're going to get a big list of leads, and here we go, we can see it's got domains processed, domains with results. So it's pretty good. Out of the 29 domains, it actually found results for 17. And then you can just hit add to list and you can create a new list, and it's going to create a big list for you that you can use, and you're going to see all of the prospects, and all you'll do is just hit the tick box to the prospects that you actually want to get rid of. And finally, at the end of it, you can hit the export button, which is always pretty obvious. It's just an export button, and you can download as a CSV, and you can upload that into your lead list. Okay. Now, there is some information on Snov on Udemy. There's a great course on Udemy, very low cost. There's also step-by-step tutorials on YouTube as well for using Snov. Many people use this tool. Now, there is a bonus. Snov do have a great Google Chrome plugin. That's a LinkedIn prospect finder. So if you just search LinkedIn prospect finder, it'll help you find email addresses of prospect directly within the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So this is really the biggest indicator that Snov uses LinkedIn as the back end. So when you go on LinkedIn search, you find some leads. Let's move that. It's then going to see the prospects. You hit select all, and then you can save them straight away. So you can use Phantom Buster for the same thing. LinkedIn Prospect Finder is a very easy way to do it on Google Chrome. It's very low friction. So if you're already using Snov, you might as well try that out. And what I recommend you doing is you then go through the same process. You delete leads you don't want. You export ones that you do. What I recommend you doing with all of these things is like, sign up to the free trial, see if you like the tool, figure out where most of your leads are, and then just get rid of the software if you don't want to use it. I am going to give you one big final recommendation towards the end of this video on, let's say, money is no object. What is the most effective way to get a big fat list of leads in your ideal ICP using just one tool? It's maybe a couple, but it's a very limited process. I'm going to give you that process. What is the ultimate lead generation process if money is no object to get a big fat list of your TAM? I'll run through that towards the end of the video. Next, we've got Hunter. Hunter is a popular lead gen tool that allows you to find email addresses for contacts with a specific domain. So you go over to the Hunter website. We don't need screenshots here. It's so simple. You go on and you navigate to domain search. You're then going to hit search. And then all you're going to do is you're going to put in, you can either put individual website links and it'll then find contact details from that, or you can upload a list. And Hunter, as I said, goes through guessing. It'll guess different emails until it finds one which is actually right. And then, same as usual, you can just export a list. Now, there are tutorials on the Hunter website, so hunter.io/webinars, and it will teach you how to use the platform in depth. Next, let's get a little bit saucy. Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster is a very powerful tool. It's a little bit grey hat, sometimes a little bit against terms of service. The chances of you getting caught are very, very slim, and the chances of there being any repercussions are very slim, but I don't take any ownership if anything happens to any of your accounts by using the tool. I've used it for years. I haven't had any issue, but my liability's gone. Okay, this is a virtual waiver by watching this section and choosing you want to use the tool. On Instagram, these are some of my favorite. This is not limited to. Phantom Buster has many, many different phantoms that you can use, as they call them, which are like recipes on Data Miner that you can use. These are my favorites. The first one is follow account. So what you can do is you go over to, in fact, I'm not going to go through the step-by-step on each of these because it's very, very simple and intuitive on the actual Phantom Buster platform. But I'll just talk you through what they actually do. Follower Collector is quite simply going to scrape a list of all of the followers of a selective Instagram account for you. And then you can download a CSV of all of those followers. Very powerful. Multiple hashtag collector, you can input a number of different hashtags that you want to scrape all of the most recent posts for, and you can select how many posts that you actually want to scrape. Profile URL Finder. Profile URL Finder is going to... I need to recap on this one. Yes, of course. full names. So what you're going to do is you're going to enter names or company names, and it's going to find the Instagram profile. Massive, okay? Many tools struggle to find Instagram profiles. With this, you can literally just put full names of someone, you can put company names, and it's going to find an Instagram profile for those individuals. Very, very cool. Next, we've got Facebook. Group members export, pretty self-explanatory. You join that solar energy Facebook group, you can export all of the members from that group by using this Phantom. And then of course you are going to have to filter through that list and qualify. That is a crucial step of lead generation, but it's going to save you a hell of a lot of time. Facebook profile URL finder, same as Instagram URL finder. We can put in name or company name. It's going to find the URL for that individual. It's going to search through and find them for us. On X, follower counter, hashtag search export, profile URL finder. It's identical to what we've got going on Instagram. LinkedIn, we can essentially bypass what Snov do as well. So we can do a LinkedIn search and we can export. So we simply take the URL of a LinkedIn search, we upload it into Phantom Buster, and it'll export that entire search into a CSV for us. It's actually quicker on Phantom Buster because on Snov it only allows you to do it per page. So you can only do it for the leads that you see on page. Phantom Buster will allow you to do a big export and it automates on the back end. So if you're looking to export LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Phantom Buster is actually going to be the better option for you. Google Maps. Google Maps, this is going to work in the same way or a similar way as Data Miner. Now, you could say then, why is Data Miner better? Data Miner is great because you can use it for directories and so on, whereas you can't use Phantom Buster for that. But this is a crossover of functionality like with many of these tools. You can put in a Google search URL and then Phantom Buster will go in and it'll export that entire list of leads for you. And then finally, Profile Finder. Okay, so with Profile Finder, you can then use this for a whole bunch of other platforms as well. So you can find the social media platforms for any contact that you've got, any business, and it's not just Facebook or X. You can do it for a whole bunch of different platforms that you specify as well. So this is something that I've highlighted here, like or accentuated, because finding profiles for people can be very difficult when they're not listed on the website. And if you're ever doing any kind of personalized outreach, especially via DM, you want to make sure that you've got the decision maker's social media profile, because if you reach out to them there and you go through the effort to find that profile, even if it's hidden, okay, which they usually are quite hard to find, then you're going to have so much more likelihood to actually secure a meeting and sign up the client, because you're doing what most people aren't able to do. Cool, so that's Phantom Buster. Go play around, but there are so many different Phantoms that you can use. Now, the final thing is Clay. Now, I cannot recommend Clay enough, as I said. It's an all-in-one solution. It literally marries up hundreds of external software platforms, and its goal is to streamline project management, team collaboration, and the creative design process, okay? Now, by creative design process, I'm talking about your automatic personalizations of your outreach. Now, it is the most expensive solution, yet it will yield the highest quality results, I guarantee you that, and it will provide you with the path of least resistance to success, meaning you can focus your efforts elsewhere, okay? So Clay, it'll build a lead list from like LinkedIn companies, it'll find local leads on Google Maps, it'll do it on HubSpot contacts, it'll then find their tech stack, it can find recent news, it can find competitors. There are 150 different enrichments. You can find mobile numbers exceptionally well. I don't know how it does it, but it does. And if, let's say, you are trying to find a mobile number on Clay, it doesn't just look on one source like LinkedIn. What it will do is it will search 8 different databases. Okay, that's an arbitrary number. Maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5, but in some instances up to 8. Okay, probably even more than that. It'll, through order of elimination, search 1, be like, no, I couldn't find the mobile. Okay, search number 2, no, I couldn't find the mobile. Okay, search number 3, no, I couldn't find the mobile. Okay, search number 4, no, I couldn't find the mobile. And it'll continue doing that until it finds the mobile number through one of the softwares. Now, of course, it's not going to have a 100% success rate, but it's going to be a damn sight lot better than just searching one tool. And Clay does that entire thing for you, not just for mobiles, but for email addresses, and not just work emails, but also personal emails as well. You do have to be careful you're reaching out to personal email addresses. There is a bit of kind of a grey area on whether or not you're actually allowed to do that. You will get some good response rates. You didn't hear that from me. Clay's pretty cool. As I say, it's going to find the leads, enrich the leads, and it's going to connect to destinations. What is also great is it's not just going to enrich those leads and find the information, but you can connect it to Outreach or Customer.io or HubSpot or Apollo or Zapier, and you can then use those leads directly from the platform, and you can actually outreach straight away. You'll even connect to Smart Lead, which is the email automation tool, so you can literally directly outreach straight from the platform, straight after generating the leads. Now, if you want to learn some more about Clay, I'm going to put a link in the description. You can watch another video that I put out on YouTube going through the tool and showing you the power of it. Trust me, it'll blow your mind. Go and check that out for yourself, and you get a whole bunch of free credits with Clay when you sign up with the link that I'll put in the description as well. But I want to stipulate again, I don't give a shit if you do. You will get loads of free credits if you use my link. You won't if you use a different link. That's the benefit for you. Check it out. Cool, let's get back to it. Let's now move on to lead databases. Lead databases are collections of potential clients that agencies can use for marketing and sales purposes. These are ready-built databases that you can use, that you can just pay to get access to. These are centralized databases that contain millions of leads from various industries across various countries. These lead databases are usually offered as service subscriptions to be able to search that database for potential leads that you might need. Now, these databases typically contain contact information such as names, email addresses, phone numbers, job titles, and company details already, so you don't have to go and enrich them. And here are some recommendations for lead databases that you can use. There's Built With. Now, Built With is a tool that you can use to find websites and the software that they are built with. You can look at the search volume, you can look at the traffic volumes and so on. It's a great tool and it's a great database. Store Leads is a huge database of pretty much every e-commerce business that exists on the planet, literally millions and millions of leads. This was my secret for years. I really protected Store Leads for a long time because it was the main way that we generated leads for our direct-to-consumer e-commerce agency, and so I kept this one close to my chest. If you're an e-commerce, check out Store Leads. It's absolutely sensational. And then we also have Apollo. In fact, I'll just open up a link right now just so you can see. So Store Leads, you can see there's 13 million stores. Crazy. And it's already got the lead databases there ready for you. If you're in direct-to-consumer and you're not using this, what are you doing? And then we also have Apollo. We can open that link. Apollo is very similar as well. We've got big lists of leads. Apollo does use multiple different sources, so it's kind of a little bit like Clay in the instance that it uses multiple sources to find the leads. It just doesn't have as much of a detailed enrichment functionality, but what Apollo does have is massive, massive databases. You see, like 275 million contacts and 73 million companies. So huge databases of what should be verified and qualified leads. Now, I have used Apollo for years and I don't always generate the best quality leads. I have closed many, many clients and made tens of thousands from the leads I've generated on Apollo. But, I mean, I'm going to come on to this in a moment. Lead databases aren't without their issues. Broadly speaking, when you use a list of leads that's already been generated, you do run the risk that there is going to be some stagnation in the information and that they've generated a long time ago. The person that is there that is no longer at the business and their mobile number is no longer the same mobile. And so you do run that risk. You have to verify the information, which we're going to come on to in a second. Now, they're going to help you find email addresses and also identify technologies being used by potential leads, or potential prospects, that is, right, to help generate potential leads, okay? Well, that's actually the other way around. I found an error there. So, used by leads to help generate potential prospects. We did a SNOV. Although there are nuances between lead databases or lead providers, here are the typical fundamentals for using a lead database service. So, you're going to create an account. You're going to navigate to the search field. This is pretty simple and self-explanatory, but I'll run through it anyway. You can search the leads on industry, companies, search, etc. They're going to find, or be shown a big list of the leads that match your criteria, and then you can filter through them. It's really important we filter through them. We don't just take the first answer, and then once we've found the leads that we want, we can export that list. It's great when you're paying for these lead databases. You can export them, get that uploaded into your sheet. Okay, save a couple of copies as well so you don't lose it. If you sign up to Apollo, you get their premium plan, you're going to spend a decent amount of money on it. You don't want to lose those leads in the future. You want to keep that lead list secure somewhere. Okay, You can also use a combination of different lead databases, and this is something I thoroughly recommend you doing depending on your industry. So for example, if you're in direct-to-consumer e-commerce, I'm giving you the source right now, you can use store leads to identify businesses that match your ICP. You can then export the list into a CSV file and then import that list into Apollo and use their enrich feature to find the decision makers' details. So you've got access to this database with 13 million direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands, and then you upload it into another database with 75 million different records, or 230 million, I believe it was, individual records, and you enrich the data. So the power of these two softwares then means that you've got this big fat list of leads that are qualified on both ends. And sure, you're going to have to go through your own process of making sure they're ICP, but there's a huge hack when it comes to saving time. Okay. Now remember, there are competitively used pieces of software. Okay, so there are other ones that you can use, and bear that in mind when you come into lead gen. There are always new tools that are coming out. That doesn't mean they're always worth it. It is always worth testing them. We're always going to test them, and if I find that one is better, I will upload this lesson, and you'll be able to see that if you're inside. And if not, I'm sure if it's really that great, yeah, I'll talk about it on YouTube, but not until I've kind of kept it in secret just for our private community for a decent amount of time so they can have that unfair advantage. And that is something, by my own admission, I do a lot. We hold stuff back for our private community because those guys have got to have the secret sauce, you know? Those guys have got to have the competitive advantage for a decent amount of time before I reveal it all on YouTube to tens of thousands of people. It's the only fair and honourable thing to do. It's also important to verify the accuracy and quality of the data, because outdated or irrelevant information can result in wasted time and resources, of course, and always weigh up the cost versus the benefits when deciding which lead generation site is right for your approach. Some of these can get quite expensive, so make sure you always use a trial. A little bit of formatting issue there, my OCD. Make sure you sign up to a trial before you pay for the tool, just so you know that you're actually happy with the quality of the leads you're generating. Cool. So now you know how to generate leads using lead scrapers and databases. Let's look at how to ensure your leads are always top quality. So optimizing quality. There are some additional steps for making sure the quality of your leads are excellent. So we're going to start off with email verification. And you cannot skip this. This is not optional. You cannot skip email verification if you want to ensure that you maintain good email health in the future. So when it comes to the information you scrape, it's important to verify for accuracy and prevent wasting time. Now, there are many of these verification tools. The best I have used, and really the most cost-effective, is Million Verifier. Okay? It's a very cost-effective tool that allows you to verify email addresses on your lead list. Have a look at it here. It's going to protect your domain reputation. That is the main reason we're verifying. We just don't want bouncers. So it's going to check to ensure that all of your leads are actually good. It's going to tell you how many of them aren't. Okay, and believe me, it is painful. Sometimes you'll generate a big list of 100,000 leads, and only 60,000 of them will actually be verified. That's a pain in the ass, but it's better to get rid of 40,000 than get white or blacklisted on your email, and then your outreach efforts are completely kaput. As I've said, email verification is a non-negotiable step. So how do we use it? We sign up for an account, and then you go to bulk verification. You upload your list of leads, and it will then scan the list and verify the validity of each email address. And once the scan is complete, you can download the updated list. It can take up to an hour in some cases. It really is that simple, though. You're just uploading the list, you hit verify, it does it for you. This is a no-brainer. This is non-negotiable. You have to do this. Next, we have data enrichment. Okay, so if you've got a list of potential clients, but it only includes like name and email address, you don't have all the information you want to enrich that data. And of course, you can use some of the tools that we've already gone through, but you want to ensure that you have all of the information possible. Data enrichment is the process of ensuring that existing lead data has all the details that you need in order to reach out to them. And not all just the information that you think that you need right now, but the information that you may need in the future, okay? Because if we enrich our lead data, we can tailor our messages and our communication style based on their specific needs and interests. We can assign greater weight to the leads that are a stronger fit for our agency or our business, because we have more information on them. We can actually assess whether or not they're suitable, or we can make sure that we understand the latest things that are happening in their company for even greater qualification. We can engage more effectively with leads who are more likely to convert, okay, because maybe we've found or identified a news article that says they're actively investing in our solution at the moment. Now, these tools work by matching your existing lead data with information from various sources such as public databases, social media platforms, and business directories. And that is really where Clay comes out top. Okay, I'm not going to go through and run through Clay again because I've already spoken to you about it. But what I will do is give you a pretty saucy framework, a very guarded framework for generating the maximum amount of leads in your industry, your total TAM. Now, first of all, we have to understand that TAM. If you don't know how to do that, then what you want to do is go on to an AI tool like perplexity.ai, and you can search there, but that information isn't always up to date. My preference is paying someone on Fiverr.com, a market research expert. Costs you around £150 to do this, and they will go and do some proper extensive research to establish your TAM, and sometimes even your SAM as well, based on your qualification. It might cost you a little bit more to do the SAM because there is sometimes a lot of manual work that goes into this. So go and get your TAM first of all. It's well worth paying someone on Fiverr so you understand what your total amount of leads is that you could potentially generate. You know what the cap is. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start off with a lead database. So for me, it was store leads, but you can use Apollo as any other industry out there. And you're going to go and you're going to search for all of the companies that are suitable in your desired industry. So you're going to start off with a huge list of companies, of businesses. You're then going to use the same lead database, so Apollo, for example, or if you're using store leads, you'll have to move them over to Apollo to find the decision makers. And you're going to say, find managing directors if that's your core ICP. But you might go from 100,000 companies to only 40,000 decision makers. Okay? Now that's great. You can take that list of 40,000 decision makers, you can export that, you can then upload it into Million Verifier, and you've got a verified list of emails for you to reach out to. That's great. The problem is with that list is it's the same list that everybody else is using because it's the path of least resistance. It's the lazy list, just upload it onto software, find decision makers, export it, cool, I've got it. But what about the 60,000 other companies that we couldn't find decision makers for? That leads us on to the next step. We're going to take that list of 60,000, we're going to upload it onto clay.com, and we're going to allow Clay to try and find the decision makers as well. You don't have to use Clay, you can use another tool if you like, but that's our preference. You're going to allow another tool to try and find the decision makers. You might then recover another 10,000 decision makers. Great, you take that 10,000, add it to your 40k, you now got 50k ready for verification. Well, what about the final 50,000 companies? This is where people usually give up. They just leave them, okay? This is wasted opportunity because just probably 0.1% of people are going through the effort to actually find the contact details for those companies because it's not easy to do so. So you're going to take those 50,000 companies and you're going to send them to a lead generation professional. You're going to outsource manual lead generation to somebody else. Now, the truth is, outsourcers are probably not manually lead generating. Most of these guys have like a software background. They've created JavaScript and various AI solutions in order to find and sift through various places on the internet. Sometimes they'll go on company directories, so Companies House in the UK, or they'll search US directories, and they'll have their ways of automating finding the right people that you want to contact. It doesn't really matter to you. All that matters is you've sent 50,000 companies to a manual lead generator, and if you're lucky, they'll generate over 50% of those leads for you. So you've recovered 25,000 leads that nobody else has gone through the effort, or very few people has gone through the effort of generating. And now you are truly maximizing on the amount of companies that you can actually reach out to, because you're going above and beyond. And that is where you dramatically increase your conversion rates when it comes to outreach, and dramatically increase your conversion rates when it comes to sales. Now you could say, oh, okay, Jordan, I recovered 50%. What about the remaining 25%? Well, that's where we have to get a little bit creative. You could hire someone to cold call the companies and figure out who the decision maker is. Hey, I'm trying to get hold of the marketing manager. Who is it still John? Okay, we're going to caveat. This is a bit of a hack. If you want to call up companies and you want to find out who the business owner is, or you want to find out who the marketing manager is, or you want to find out who the decision maker is, call them up and pretend you knew who the previous one was, or you thought you knew who the current one was, and they'll often correct you. So if you call up John's Steakhouse and you say, hey, John's Steakhouse, I mean, it's pretty obvious it's going to be John, right? But if you call up John's Steakhouse and you say, hey, does John still own the business? And they say, no, it's Steve. Oh, of course it's Steve. Can you just remind me of Steve's last name? Yeah, it's Steve Wozniak. Great. And have you got an up-to-date email address, Steve? And we collect that information. You're going to be far more likely to get the information than if you call up and say, hey, who's the owner of the business? And they'll be like, who's this donut? He doesn't know anything about us. But if you call up and say, hey, does John still own the business? And they correct you because it's their natural instinct to correct you. This is something I used for years when I was in cold calling based roles. So yes, there's 20,000 leads. That's a huge amount. But if we're an established company, we've got the resources to do so. It is truly worth hiring someone in your team to go through and Trojan horse. There are a number of different strategies that you can use for this. We haven't got time for it today. If you ever have the chance to speak to me, ask me, and I'll run you through some of them. Some pretty cool strategies that I wouldn't want everybody using. It is so worth your time and resource to get someone in the company who can do that for you, because there's another potential 25,000 companies that nobody is going through the effort of finding details for. Great. So that's a framework for you. Now, I do have a full lead generation in practice video. As I said, inside this lesson, I go through a bunch of these tools in a lot of detail, and I talk specifically through that exact framework that I just went through, that specific process that we use to generate leads in a lot more detail. Now, the final thing we have to touch on today is outsourcing. So if you don't have the time for lead generation, it can be outsourced to freelancers. They are skilled professionals who build lead lists quickly and efficiently. You're going to use them when the software can't find decision makers for all the companies. And freelance lead generators can use a variety of tools and techniques to find potential leads, including some black hat techniques. Now, this video has been going on for a long time. We don't have time to get in depth on outsourcing today, but you're going to spend anything from 5 cents to 30 cents per lead, depending on your specific ICP. There are a number of different platforms you can use to find these guys, from Fiverr to Upwork and a bunch of different directories as well. But this is just a small part of a huge program that we recently launched called Agency Launch. This is one of many, many masterclasses where we dive into specific detail on every nuance of building a successful marketing agency. But it's not just these lessons. We, of course, have videos to back up all of this training so you can take action on everything that you learn. And, of course, any relevant worksheet, SOP or resource that you need to implement this inside of your agency. We literally provide you with everything you need to scale an agency to $10,000 per month at least. And you can absorb the content through written format, but there is also an audio book for every lesson as well, so you can even listen when you're out and about on the go. Because I know what it's like. When you start running a business, you get pretty busy. So we want to make sure our community can absorb the content on the go in the way that they want to. Okay, and learn the way they want to. Now, of course, if you are interested and you are an agency owner, I'd like to invite you to click the link in the description. You can apply to join Agency Launch. You can jump on a call with a member of our team, and you will join not only this program, but you will also join our one-to-one mentorship program. We will hold your hand through the process of signing up at least 10 new clients for your business. In fact, we are so confident that we will generate you that result because we have worked with thousands of agencies over the years that we actually guarantee it. If you don't sign up at least 10 new clients, then you don't pay. So if you want to stay up to date with the latest on what is working, and trust me, this shit changes all the time, and you want to surround yourself with a community of others on the same journey as you, then click the link in the description. And for the rest of you, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all soon. Cheers.